about your ability to be armed on campus to provide for public safety for the faculty, students, and staffs to any threats or harm that may come to them?
Thank you, sir. Yes, we do have handguns. We do not have rifles. We are the only university in the state university that does not have rifles for active shooter situations, but we are armed.
Is it a funding issue you don't have rifles, or it's some sort of a philosophical reason you don't have it?
It's philosophical.
Does it concern you, though, that if you had an active shooter, that might be a necessary, and I don't know law enforcement and the importance of having rifles, but I'm just
It concerns me greatly. We should have rifles, in my opinion.
Oh, okay. So whose decision was it not to have rifles? Oh, okay. So whose decision was it not to have rifles? It wasn't you. It wasn't your department.
It's not me.
Do you know whose decision that was?
The college administration.
Can I ask President Bridges something?
Please.
You want to respond to that, President?
Well, there's been this issue has been with Evergreen for many years. I'm here, this is my 19th month, I think. We're looking at that issue, and there are many needs that our police services units has. Certainly they are seeking this.
So you mentioned earlier you don't have any deep experience in law enforcement.
No, sir.
And so you would want to defer to those who have that experience, whose main job it is to keep the campus safe, wouldn't you?
We are in conversation about that very issue.
Okay, and you got a chief right next to you who just said publicly you need to have rifles, particularly after shooters. It seems to me you've got your answer on what you need to do.
I heard her, sir.
I know we heard early on that some of what's going on out at Evergreen is a culture. And I'd like to talk to an incident that we haven't heard about that happened in January when Chief Brown was being sworn in as the police chief. She had invited some friends and family, as well as faculty, to attend watching her be sworn in. And when the time came for the actual ceremony, several students, I think there's probably 20 or 30 students there, decided that they were going to get up in front and take over the entire event with noisemakers and drums and horns and the PA. And they actually went and took one of the microphones out of, I believe it was a vice president's hand, just jerked it out of her hand. And they basically, they were cursing, saying all kinds of things. It just went on and on. There was complete chaos. It got to the point where after about 15 minutes where President Bridges decided that the ceremony wasn't going to happen. I personally watched some of these students go up to Chief Brown's right up to her face and call her all kinds of names, cursing at her, as well as she had her young children with her who were fearful of what's going on. So the decision was made by the president that the ceremony wasn't going to go on, and we all cleared the area and let the students basically take over and have whatever they wanted. So the students pretty much ran the show, is how I feel. I just felt that needed to get brought out because I personally witnessed that on that day.
Senator Oban.
So are you aware of any discipline taken against those students?
I am not.
Do you think you would know if discipline had been taken?
I think that if some discipline had happened later on, I wouldn't know. I personally think that at the time it would have been appropriate for some immediate expulsions.
I think most of us up here would agree with that. I'd like to get an answer to that question. I see the president as, oh, there you are, President. Okay, maybe we'll have an opportunity for you to respond to that. Okay.
I do. The students were disciplined. They were subjected to our student conduct code and they were disciplined. That was something that we went through a series of processes as the Washington Administrative Code requires of us, and they were processed through that and were disciplined. I don't know what the exact disciplines were, but I'd be happy to get that information to you.
What do you believe was the disciplinary action taken? Let's talk about the most serious action taken, to your knowledge.
I believe there was a number of quarters on probation. with restraints that if the student engaged in more conduct, they would be subject to a more severe discipline.
So I'm sorry, does that mean they were on probation? No, they were not suspended. There was no action taken other than just to put them on probation?
My understanding is that was what the action was. I have no influence on the outcome of that decision. It is a very lengthy process, and the process entails a series of reviews and appeals, and then that was the outcome of the sanction. I'd have to look at more detail. Be happy to get you the information I have. What's the body that that processes a complaint like that and comes up with a discipline? There is a process guided by an assistant attorney general that participates in this. So we have a conduct hearing board, and then we have a separate appeal board, and it is comprised of students, faculty, and staff. Okay. Did you agree with the ultimate result? No. What would you have done if you had been able to have? Let me qualify that. The process is the process that follows. So what I have in terms of my opinion really, I understand, can't be invoked. But you are the president of the institution, so I'm wondering if you agreed with the result. Well, given the process was followed appropriately, yeah, I do. But if I were the sanctioning agent, which I'm not, I probably would have imposed a more severe sanction.
Bitch, I don't believe you, no. Bitch, I don't believe you, girl. I know you think you faded, but bitch, I don't believe you, no.
He's going over that cliff.